Today, I have Quinta Brunson here as we are going to talk about her new series on SYFY and everything else that has to do with comedy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, we are still here, still
There
alive,
we
still
go.
kicking. This
Oh,
pandemic is still going on and the news is getting crazier, but that is
mhm.
not for today's topics. So, what have you learned the most during this pandemic since it started?
um, just that Americans are as selfish as they're painted out to be. That's been a lot to learn with people in their discussions on masks and whether or not to wear them to protect others. Um, I think what maybe all of us Black people knew to be true is that America's deeply racist. It's just that everyone's seeing it, and yeah, this election could break America. So those are the things I've learned. In a nutshell. And I've learned that I would like to try to be more selfless and just do whatever I can to help others moving forward because everyone's going to need to do that and everyone's going to need it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Once this pandemic is over, where are going to be some things that you will still carry on when it's completely done?
I think I'm definitely going to be just mindful of others in a way that we maybe haven't been before, like flu season and stuff. I think I'm going
Yes.
to keep my distance from people in case I'm sick anyway. And I think, I don't know, there's a world in which coronavirus is here to stay. And with the way things are being handled, this pandemic may not be over anytime soon. So I haven't even been thinking about it like once this pandemic is over. It's more like, what are we going to do in the second and third wave? That's kind of how I'm thinking about it at this point. We have no reason to think it would even be over right now. And then
Exactly.
besides that, and then just with like the social uprising helping the social uprising happening at the same time, I'm really just thinking about continuing to be politically educated in every way, shape, and form so that I know um, alternative routes of how to engage with politics throughout time. I've done a lot of reading during this time, and that's something I want to do forevermore, never get as disengaged from politics as I think I have been in the past. Trump had this effect that made you just kind of disengage, but now I'm just like fully engaged in all aspects of it.
Oh boy, that guy's a different story for another day. But today's story is
Yeah.
about you and about Magic Girl Friendship Squad. So tell me more
Yeah.
about the animated series.
So it's about Alex and Daisy, two friends, roommates who live together, and they are bestowed. They get magical powers from a little uh, red panda, and they have to save the world. It's not unlike many other hero stories, but what's fun about them is these two roommates are kind of in that modern millennial age group, and we haven't really seen those heroes quite yet. I could be wrong. Um, but it's fun to play with the things that they talk about, the jobs they have. Like one of them basically works at kind of a BuzzFeed, the other one's working at a coffee shop, and like those worlds and where they are in relation to them being superheroes is really, really fun.
On stand up, was it an easy transition to go from doing that to voice acting?
Yeah. I mean, stand up and voice acting are two totally different worlds in that stand up A is my words, it's what I've written. And there's a lot more room to play with the audience and play with my words and thoughts. So you don't have you don't have the ability to do that with voice work. You kind of need to stick to the page. Not that you can't improvise, but you need to stick to the page because someone's animating that page. So it's important to try to knock down, get your lines there and make them clear and concise. Whereas on a stand up stage, I could ramble if I want to, but I can't ramble when it comes to this. I have to be clear and concise when it comes to voice work. I think another main difference is that voice work takes a lot of vocal control to make sure that you're maintaining a voice, um, a specific voice, instead of going in and out of what our natural inflections are. You really like want to maintain this voice that you set for this character.
Speaking of the voice, how long did it take for you to get the voice exactly how you wanted it to sound and how everybody else wanted the character to sound?
I would say it took me about an hour. You know, I had an idea of what this girl would sound like, which isn't too far off from how I sound. And the producers of the show like that. And it's really just about tweaking for the director's vision of the show. You know, like we want her to sound a bit more optimistic in spirit. Um, as opposed to deadpan. I do another character on another show that's just like a fully deadpan character. She's down here. She doesn't leave here much. But Alex has a little bit more spirit than that. And is a little bit more of like a fun girl than I am. So I had to make sure I maintain that voice.
Did you voice for other characters when you auditioned for the show, or was this the one character you wanted to voice when they
This is
first
the one
pitched it to you?
character that was sent to me. So I fortunately didn't have to audition for this project. It was just sent to me as an offer, like we would like for you to come play this character.
Now, you growing up in Philadelphia, and
Mhm.
that's a state I love going to, especially
Mhm.
since they have the Pennsylvania Convention Center there, and they
Yeah.
have the Reading Terminal Market.
Mhm.
What was it like for growing up in Philadelphia for you? Because I'm based in New York.
Oh, you're okay. You're from New York. Yeah, I love Philly. I wish there was a world in which I could still live in Philly. I think it's beautiful, full of culture. It has its issues, just like everything else. But um, it's a city that's just full of arts and culture and good people and bad people, and that makes it fun. And I think it's great. Like Reading Terminal, I used to go to with my dad to go get his solids that he would get from one of the stations, you know, after work. I would meet him there and go get those. And it's just a great place that I go to often when I go back to Philly because I want to see what new restaurants have come in or what, you know, what has changed about it. If it still has the same smell. Reading Terminal has this smell because it has so many foods
Oh my
going on.
God, yes.
So it has this really weird combination of smells making one big smell that I identify with Reading Terminal. Like as soon as I walk in there and I'm like, the smell of Chinese food, Indian food, and a hoagie all at once. I love it.
One thing I always love to get over there is the Baylor's Donuts. That is literally my
Cool.
favorite thing over there.
I don't think I know that stand, but you know what's funny? I probably have eaten from there and never knew the name of it. Because I think when you grow up there, you just walk in and try every single item from everything, every stand, and you kind of never look up at the names of the restaurants. Funny.
Now, you're also a comedian, and I know you miss going on the road, miss going to shows, miss being the fans. Do you love when it comes back that you would love to meet the fans and go back on the road and doing stand up?
I would love to do stand up again when it's safe to do so. Like, I'm not itching really to go do it right now because I think I'm not in a place where I really want to hit a stage right now. I really want to be developing TV shows and films. But when it's safe to do so, I would love to try out material that has been, you know, bumping around in my brain since we've been in this state of things. At the same time, I'm like, you know, I don't need to entertain people right now. I want people to be focused on the real issues that are, you know, plaguing us. So I know everyone needs their escape and everything, but I'm not necessarily clamoring to get on stage to share my ideas. I just kind of feel like, who cares?
Where's your favorite place you've traveled to?
For stand up or just in general?
I'll say both, stand up and general.
For stand up, there's a festival called Cluster Fest that is my favorite festival. It takes place in San Francisco. I just love doing stand up at that festival in particular. People come for comedy, they want to laugh, and it's a great opportunity to be with other comedians from other states who I maybe don't get to meet because I'm here in LA, but I'm a fan of them. So it's nice to be able to meet them at those festivals. So I love doing stand up in San Francisco. And as far as my favorite travel destination, I would have to say Hawaii, hands down.
I've never been to Hawaii.
Oh, it's gorgeous. You'd love it. I can't wait to be able to get back there one day if we ever can go anywhere ever again.
I think I've been to about 30 of the 50 states in the United States.
Whoa. Oh my God. You've been to more places than I have.
But I haven't been traveling this much since this pandemic started.
Of course. Of course,
Oh
yeah.
my God, I still want it to be over. Now, do you have any crazy Uber or Lyft stories? I've wanted to ask you since I found out you're a comedian.
Um, UberLyft Stories. I'm sure I do. Why not? It's been so long since I've been in one because of all this. I'm trying to think. Crazy. I know there was one time I had an Uber driver who he didn't speak a word of English, which was fine. But we ran into an issue where we were in an area where there was no GPS. And
Oh
so
boy.
I was trying to tell him where to go, and the GPS had gone out, and he spoke Japanese, but it took me a long time to figure out that he spoke Japanese. So I had to communicate with him totally through like my Google Translate app and try to navigate to him where I was going using more than just right and left, you know? And it was a really crazy time. That's my craziest Uber story because I was truly feeling like I might never make it to my destination. Like I might not be. I was saying the words wrong in Japanese, so I had to wind up just like showing him on the phone what I was trying to say, and he'd be like, "Oh," but then his eyes weren't on the road, and we're in this very hilly area of LA. There are so many areas that are just hills and sharp turns that I was like, "We're gonna crash at any moment," but we both survived, and I live to tell the story today. So
If you make a autobiography, please add that.
yeah, will do.
So much for speaking with me today. I had a pleasure
Thank
speaking
you.
to you.
Thank
You
you
are
so much.
you are welcome.